Welcome to Sister Sessions, a podcast where two sisters on very different journeys explore what it means to live spiritually in today's world. My sister, Jenny Fairbank, is the co-founder and spiritual director of Wisdom Pathways, a yoga and meditation teacher, and a somatic healer devoted to guiding others toward inner peace. And I'm Susie Gustin, a mom of three, producer and owner of Red City Live Entertainment, embracing life's joys while searching for deeper meaning. Together, we have honest, relatable conversations about finding balance, purpose, and connection in everyday life. So, settle in. You are exactly where you need to be. Welcome to Sister Sessions. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Sister Sessions podcast. I'm Susie Gustin, and I'm here with my co-host and sister, Jenny Fairbank.
Hey, sister, how are you?
Good, Jenny. How are you today?
I'm feeling great. Yeah, really good.
Awesome. Always so calm. Always so calm in your answers.
I feel cool.
I can see it. It's like there's this energy around you that just like...
It's honest. I mean, it's all because of meditation. That's what I attribute it to 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
And not only that, it's like being really present every day and in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely matters. Well, on today's episode of Feel to Heal, I want to talk about you being a somatic healer. And I was thinking about this, and it's because, that's what we talk about in our intro to the show, and is, one of your big, not your resume, well, yes, offerings is being a somatic healer. And to be totally honest with you, I wanted to have this episode because if someone said to me, "Oh, your sister's a somatic healer, what is that?" I'd be like, "What? I don't know how to answer that." And I'm like, wait, that's so annoying that I don't know how to answer that. And I'm also so curious about diving into what is somatic healing, like, all of the things. I have many questions to ask you around it, and then we can talk to each other and help our listeners understand what it means, and maybe, if they want to delve into somatic healing themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so let's start with the basic answer. What is somatic healing?
That might be a basic question. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a basic answer.
Oh, that's what I meant. Basic question. Basic question. So the answer is, it's like Jeopardy backwards, which I'm so bad at. So clearly I wouldn't even be good at that. But anyway, let's go normal way. Question. What is somatic healing?
Okay. Well,
it's like Fruit Loops up here sometimes. Go ahead.
The word somatic comes from actually the Greek word soma, which means the living body. And somatic healing is this approach where we work directly with the body to heal, to process stored trauma, stored emotions, subconscious patterning. And it's, understood that the body holds memory and we store it unbeknownst to us. And so when you dive into the physical body in practices of meditation kind of spaces and different techniques to get somebody to tap into their body and what's happening there, then healing can take place. So my journey with this began in 2008 when I was in grad school. I was graduating that year, and I knew I wanted to do what I thought, I was calling it yoga therapy. I didn't want to go the traditional talk therapy route. I really wanted to do more body, emotional, all together based. I knew, we are a whole and complete being, and we need to be holistic and not just focus on one aspect, the mind, right? Or just the body or just the emotions. It's all connected. And when I was in grad school, it was focused on counseling and learning how to work with the mind. But in conjunction with me being in grad school, as you know, I was a fitness instructor and have been for a long time, and a yoga teacher. And the body was really important to me. This is our temple. The body is a gift that we've been gifted to take care of, and it houses a part of our soul. It doesn't house our whole soul. Our soul is who we really are. The body is just a temporary vehicle that we're using to have this human experience. And so I was really, for my first, from, even starting in college, I was really focused on the body, and I became this, personal trainer and all these things. And the body was so important to me. And I realized, okay, a lot of my clients were really struggling emotionally and mentally, and I'm helping them physically, but I realized I'm also helping them mentally by naturally. I think I was born to be a counselor. And, my clients would say, "You are my counselor. Go to school to be a therapist. Like, what are you doing?" After not listening to for a long time, and then deciding, you know what? Yeah, I think I do want to do this. And I want to do yoga therapy, whatever that looks like. I don't really know. And, I lived in Pittsburgh at the time. And in 2005, 6, 7, 8, there wasn't a lot of talk about all this stuff. And I thought, well, I'll just figure it out. Like, I want to do body, emotional, all of it wrapped up in one kind of work. So then
It's amazing how it's all clicked you together. Like everything you're saying, like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fun to see how it all evolved. So I found yoga therapy. I found Phoenix Rising Yoga Therapy. There are a lot of different yoga therapy modality organizations out there, but a lot of them are focused on primarily the body. Yoga therapy is like, okay, work on this posture more, do these postures because you have a back issue or psoas or whatever it is. And that wasn't exciting to me. That was more like physical therapy in a way. And I wanted to dive deeper into the soul, into the emotions and mental stuff that's going on. And so Phoenix Rising Yoga Therapy was the perfect avenue for me. So I studied through them for years and did all of their trainings. And that was how I tapped into somatic healing. And then as years progressed, I've kind of created my own kind of way of doing somatic healing with people, because I don't typically see people in person anymore. Not because I don't want to, it's just the way in which where I live and how, accessible I can be physically. So I do this online. It works just as beautifully. And so it works, like I said, directly with, and it's not just the therapy, it's really a spiritual practice, which is obviously, as you know, my foundation is like everything comes through the spiritual lens for me. So we're returning to the body as seeing it as a temple, housing all of our consciousness within it, and with more than within it, as seeing us as the self, the higher self, as the whole, and integrating and moving through energy blocks, releasing traumas through practice of somatic healing.
Wow. So when someone comes to you, are they familiar most of the time with somatic healing, or they don't even know that's what type of where it's going?
Well, it really depends, because, I have, for the last 15, 16 years, all of my client work is through word of mouth. And so it's not like they're seeing an advertisement and like, "Oh, Jenny's a somatic healer," or anything.
Gotcha.
It's usually like, "Oh, hey, you need some help with this? I know somebody who can help you." And there's a lot of ways in which I can help people. So some people come to me really only to talk and like get out, deal with an issue they're having, a specific problem, or they need guidance, or they need someone to listen to them. So I kind of can be in that lens of more counselor. It's always spiritually focused, whether they are even, claim to be a spiritual person or not. That word never even has to be expressed, right? Like that word is very generic in general. Some people do come to me now with my work with Wisdom Pathways. It is very clear on the process of with what we do, because I have a business partner, Stephen Ross, who is a medium, and we have this process that we're calling immersions, where clients who are going through maybe a specific transition or really struggling with a specific thing or feeling stuck in some way or in a deep sense of grief or loss, or, when they need we're calling it kind of like a soul tune-up. When they need a tune-up, they come to us for an immersion, which is a 4-session process. Stephen does the first session where he can read their energy field, and his guides share with him and that person what is going on with them. So we create this soul map, and I know what's going on with them, which is great. So when I do the somatic healing, the second session, we dive right into the issue. I know exactly what's going on based on his report. And then we go into the process. Sometimes it can look like I get them into a meditative space where maybe we do a body scan. They get to see like, where do you feel any sense of different energy? A tightness, fluttering sensation, a warmth, a coolness. Where do you something sticking out? And I often know what's going on. And often it is somewhere along the center of the body where the chakra system resides. So they might have a tightness in their chest or a belly pain or ache, or they have tightness in their head, or their throat feels constricted. Those are some examples. And then I have them go in and really visualize, what are you seeing? What are you feeling? What does this energy represent? This energy is not you. This is an energy pattern. And so with this process of, there's a dialogue involved, there's this process of helping them get ready to let go of this energy, saying, I don't want this anymore. I don't need this anymore. It doesn't help me, and it's pulling me down. I'm ready to let go. And so then we move through the process of series of breathing techniques and different things, affirmations sometimes, of moving that energy out. And then when we do that, and it feels, there's this shift that happens for them where they will notice, okay, they'll tell me like, okay, I'm feeling this, I'm seeing this, there's a color here, and I'm moving, and then we move it out, and then the body is releasing that stored energy, and then they feel different. There's like this shift, like, oh my gosh, I feel lighter. That's often the case. And then we don't stop there, but we now bring in a higher vibration to fill that energy, that area up with love, peace, joy, calm, something like that, depending on all the factors. So it's such a beautiful practice, and I absolutely love doing it because
It's almost like a chakra flush. Like you're like flushing the chakras clean, asking like, where do you feel it? And now let's flush it out. Let's replace it with something new pipeline.
Yes. And then the third session is with Stephen again, and he does actually a light activation with the chakras. And they just lay down, and he can see and feel all their chakra systems, and he puts a light activation in all of them. They usually come away feeling really rejuvenated, refreshed, really much lighter. And then the fourth session with me is an integration session where we kind of go over, okay, what happened? How are you now? What are your practices moving forward? How do you keep working with yourself in this way? Because once you really understand yourself on this deeper level, you can do this yourself. Like my whole life, I felt like I want to empower people to live to their truest, fullest potential. And
I give them the tools.
Right. And I started doing that, with a physical body. And then, through all of this work I've been doing in the past decades is empowering other people. Like I've always had this, thing of EAT, empower, awaken, transform. This acronym, EAT, empower yourself to awaken to who you really are, to live to your truest, highest potential. And so that's what I do. That's what I hope to do. And I that everybody can do this, that it's not anything I'm or anybody else, right?
So also you got to feel to heal sounds like right on the money then.
Yes.
And so how can one incorporate this into their daily life without a professional? We're best to start with the professional and learn the tools. No.
Necessarily. I mean, you don't have to do that. It can make it easier. But the thing that we need to trust and know is that the body is very wise and already knows how to heal. We just simply need to stop and listen to get quiet enough to listen to the body and hear it and trust it, and brave enough to feel it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of times people get overwhelmed by their emotions and they shut them down because it feels too much and they don't know what to do with it. And they're not with what arises, or they're with what arises and they react and they lash out, which, as we know, is not healthy. And that energy it's not moving in the way that you think it's moving. It's actually, it can store even more, because there's a natural feeling, if you have, empathy, or not even empathy, there's a natural feeling sometimes of guilt that we have, which, I have a hard time with guilt. I mean, I think, you feel guilty for a second. Oh, I did something wrong. And then you've got to move that out now. You've got to process that in the moment. You do not want to hold on to guilt, because that's one of the heaviest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I like the question that Joe Dispenza always places out. Is he says, if we can make ourselves sick with our own thoughts, right? People can make themselves sick. Can we heal ourselves with our own thoughts? And the answer is yes. But we're so used to only focusing on, oh my gosh, this is making me sick. Like, I'm so stressed that it's making me sick. Like, you hear people say those things constantly, but you never hear people say, I found this place of joy and I feel great. I've been feeling so much better. I'm not coughing as much, or whatever symptoms that they were having. You don't hear that enough because it's not placed in front of us enough to believe it. Are you there? I think maybe we lost Jenny for a second. And where are you? You're back.
Keep going.
Yeah, so we don't hear it enough of people saying that, of focusing on healing through our thoughts. And I would love if that was more put in the face of society, way more than, it's just the prescription medicine that's going to heal you and this is going to heal you. Well, our thoughts can heal us.
That is where we're headed.
And that's what I'm hoping. That is a question I have. But where do you see somatic healing in 5 to 10 years?
So very much more evolved, and where everyone is empowered to be able to know that they have the ability to do it. And the problem is that where I see is that people don't trust themselves enough. They don't believe that they have the abilities that they actually do. And if you doubt, then it can't work. I mean, there are so very many stories out there where people have been told by doctors, there's no way you're going to heal. There is no possible way you're going to walk again. And Joe Dispenza, one of them, and he just refused to believe that. And many others have refused to believe that. And they put all of their focus and attention and energy into healing. And it always starts with the thoughts, always, bottom line, because it comes from the 3 levels of light, of the truth, which is the causal plane, the astral plane, and the material plane of existence, the 3 levels of existence. And the causal plane, and this is a way deep thing, we don't have to go deep in the woods of this, but the causal plane is pure thought, the ideational plane, where you have to think about something before you can bring the energy into actually physically doing it, right? You can't skip the thought. Really, when have you ever, gone out and done something before you had the thought to do it? It's impossible, right? You have to think, oh, I'm going to go into the car and get in and drive somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to think. So thought comes first, and then energy starts to move, because energy has its own intelligence, and all thoughts are energy patterns. So we have this energy pattern of a thought of, I want to create something. And then you start to put energy into making it happen, calling the right people, getting things set up, doing this and that, whatever you need to do. And then it begins to physically manifest. So when we want to heal ourselves, first and foremost, we have to believe that we can. Because if we don't believe we can, it stops right there and nothing happens. And so Joe Dispenza and others like that who have healed themselves in a very dramatic way, like walking again, have mastered that. They know it because they've experienced it. And then they are trying to impress upon others, hey, you can do this too. Just like Jesus the
Right.
Christ did. And all the other great saints and avatars that we know of who've lived on this planet have
Right.
said to us.
So we're talking right now about healing ourselves physically from like sickness or that. But how do you use somatic healing in terms of like trauma recovery?
Mm,
So
yeah.
not like you have an illness or you had an accident and you can't walk, like trauma recovery. Is it, how does that work with somatic healing?
Well, that's mostly what I do. I mean, I don't heal people's physical body, helping them do
Right.
that, right? I help them with trauma and emotional distress and mental, say, rumination, or, lots of mental challenges in that way where they can't get out of, say, some patterns. And that comes into what I was sharing earlier, which is, the way of going into the physical body and identifying what is blocking you, because they're energy blocks. They're called vrittis, whirlpools of energy that get caught in your chakra system. It's almost like, and I love this because my favorite teacher of all time, Asha, Nayaswami Asha from Ananda Worldwide, she talks about this as being, and I love this, like a river, like the flow of your chakras, you want them to be clean and clear of obstruction, just like a river flowing, right? And if a
Yeah.
river's, so if a stream is flowing and then a rock falls in, or a branch or a log, it's going to back up the water, right? The water gets stuck, and then a whirlpool literally will start, and the water can't move
Mm-hmm.
until the obstruction is moved, and then the water can flow again. That's what's happening here. So we're cleaning out the obstructions so that you aren't living in that space, and subconsciously it is informing your life. So you don't realize that, this stored trauma from, say, your childhood in some way is affecting your daily life, but it is. And so through conversations with a person, through mediumship with Stephen, with a person, they get to uncover that those traumas become uncovered. Like, oh, yeah, that has actually affected me in my relationships in
And so
life.
this isn't about like reliving the trauma. This is about just
No.
getting rid of, like letting it flow out of you. I'm
Yeah,
asking.
there's no need. It depends. Every situation is different, and there's no single blueprint here for the healing. Most people, I say, don't necessarily need to go through it, but some do. And this is where there's like the inner child healing that comes, everybody, I think, has heard the term inner child work, right? But what is that really? Well, that is when you go back and you do look at this young child who is desperately afraid, or, afraid for her life or his life, or who knows, right? Whatever that is. But you do go back and you actually connect with your younger self,
Mm-hmm.
and you can have a dialogue with your younger self. So it's not reliving the experience. It's looking at who you were in that experience and how you were. And can you now see that experience has brought you to where you are today, and that you can overcome anything because of that experience, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And then even rewriting some things if that is appropriate. Like, okay, what do you really see here? What is really happening here that you can learn from? And that you are now saying, I see it, I honor it, no, it wasn't good, and it was hurtful and painful, and
Yeah.
being in that, right? You have to feel it to heal it, 100%. And then you can work with your inner child and let go, and love your inner child and say, you're safe, you're okay, and look where you are now. Look who I am today. I'm okay, I'm safe. There's all kinds of ways to do it.
What are
But
some of your favorite techniques or practices? somatic healing?
I mean, I'm so in it with the person. My favorite part of it is that I feel like I get to like be in someone's most inner tender, it makes me want to cry, like part of their existence, right? Like I feel so honored to be able to hold that space for someone to heal and to see them release it. I can literally see them release it. And sometimes they release it through tears, sometimes through, I mean, some people scream and shout. Some people, just can feel the sense. It's so different for everyone. And my favorite part is the release. So I can't say that the techniques are techniques and, there's so many different ways. I really am in my intuitive higher self during these sessions. So I really let my personality, my being as a personality as Jenny put away. And I'm really in it with them in the deepest sense. So I know I didn't really answer your question in a way, but
No, yeah, you did. I mean, in a way you did. But so with that and how you're saying like, okay, I get so into it that I kind of outside of Jenny. So then how does Jenny take care of herself when you spend your day, working with all these people and constantly it's always about everyone else? How do you take care of you?
Yeah, well, it's vital. I meditate. I go for walks every day. I take care of my body. I eat nourishing food. I sleep really well. I have done some, I'm not as good as I could be with like rituals after a session. I used to, sometimes I'll burn sage or something, but I don't do that all the time. I feel really grounded and I feel really uplifted actually often after sessions.
So you don't feel like you've been depleted and drained.
Not at all.
That's awesome.
Not at all.
Because you would think that, it's like someone like me would think like, oh my gosh, doing that work all day, you must feel drained.
No, I actually feel very uplifted after sessions. And I don't do somatic healing every session. It's very different. Sometimes I'm just talking with people. Sometimes we're just processing things. Sometimes I'm guiding a meditation for them. Sometimes I'm doing somatic things. Sometimes, there's all kinds of things. I also work with couples. So sometimes there's a lot of couple work. Sometimes it's very spiritually focused and we're talking about spiritual principles.
Yeah.
What's great about it is it's different all the time. It's not the same every day by far. Yeah.
So like how would you compare then somatic healing? I mean, so do you really believe that not that you somatic healing is the highest form of healing in terms of like going to regular therapy, and would you always guide people to try somatic healing before anything else?
No. No, not everybody's going to be ready for that, honestly. Because it requires the person to be able to go inward, to be ready to release it. So no, it's not the first thing. In fact, I talk a lot with people. So I I think the first step in any healing is talking about it. First, you have to acknowledge that it happened, whatever it was, or whatever, or not even that you might even be aware of what's going on for you, right? But I think talk therapy is very valuable, and it is one aspect of healing. There are many aspects of healing and many ways to heal. And there is no right or wrong or perfect formula. It's what's right for you as an individual.
So
So
somatic healing intersects with spirituality and energy work. So if you're not really on that road, your mind open to that, then that's not going to
it's not going to work.
necessarily open up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When I practice more of Phoenix Rising techniques,
Uh-huh.
I would not recommend that to everybody. There was, some clients I could say, hey, I think we could do a session, like you could really use one of these sessions, and I would know they're ready. And some people would come to me just for those specific kind of sessions because they knew about it. And Yeah, I mean, it has to come from them, and they have to be ready to go inward,
Yeah.
and that's not always.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. So it's really somatic healing is really a spiritual energy.
It is. It's not intellect, so it has to happen in the heart, in the gut, in the body, in the, healing happens on the deepest level when you are in within the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hi.
So when we actually feel, when we allow ourselves to feel, then we remember parts of ourselves. It's like waking up parts of ourselves, and then we can release and we can realign to our highest self when
Mm-hmm.
we have, when we start to remove some of those blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you have to have do you have to be like, oh, I feel like I want to try somatic healing because of this? Or is it something that anyone, if you're feeling like right now, like I feel like life is great, like would somatic healing be good for someone like that who's having a smooth ride at the moment? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you're not really aware of anything that's blocking you, and not necessarily, but there's always nice to do like a tune up, to like check in, and that also, again, it's like this practice of you as I'm going to say the client, needs to be aware of something. Because if
Yeah.
you're not aware of anything and you're oblivious to it, and then I'm going to help you go in there and look, and you're like, yeah, I feel, yeah, nothing's going on. Like you don't feel anything. If then it might not work. Not saying there's not stuff in there, because we all have stuff in there. If we didn't, we'd be in a different space.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's a good point because when we had talked on here to Karen Quivico, and she did a session with you and I separately. And when I did my session with her, I went into the session totally open minded, just this is going to be so cool to realize that I had block in my throat chakra. And so I didn't know that. Totally made sense, completely made sense. But I had to like go through an experience to find that. Not that you're looking for problems, but you're actually, it's like a cleanse, like you said, which is always nice. You go anywhere and they're like, for any fix or tune up on your body, whether it's your ears, your hair, your whatever. And they're like, oh, you actually have tons of dead ends or anything. Your hearing's not perfect on this side. So, yeah, it's like a spiritual tune up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So with, when it comes to like the sessions that Stephen and I do together, I actually feel like anyone could do that, because that is real. You don't have to be feeling any certain way or going through any certain thing necessarily, because it's us reading your energy field and seeing it for you and saying, okay, here's what's going on. Here's where you're blocked and you don't even realize it. And now we can share your throat chakra's blocked, your root chakra's blocked. And this is what's causing XYZ in your life to be happening, why you're not moving forward with this or that. Right. So absolutely, that is very possible.
Well, and I
In
think too, yeah, I think too that like when I was saying, like, I wasn't trying to imply that my life is perfect when I said that,
Sure.
I'm not. And I think that also what can happen, which would be in my case, right? So busy that you don't stop to even think about it. And then when you're kind of forced, like when you have a session, to stop and think, and you're like, oh, wait, I'm not paying enough attention to myself. So maybe I think things are like everything's smooth right now, but there was a little something. And so that's actually really important. This is a self care, note for everyone is what an interesting way to do a cleanse.
Yeah.
Maybe people should think we should all think about this. And I kind of just did it with Karen and doing that and finding out about the throat chakra, which I have to say that I need to learn how to do the work on that because I'm not 100% sure. Totally. Knowing that that's an issue. I mean, it's a lot of us speaking up, and I'm trying to do that more, like not just holding in how I feel. that was one, like, really, like, the biggest thing is just saying how you feel and not being so worried about how everyone's going to think. And that doesn't mean being an asshole and just speaking your mind to be a jerk. We're talking about like healthy feelings that maybe you think, oh, they're going to feel bad if I say no, and they're going to feel bad if I don't want this, or yeah. So maybe I do know how to work on it.
You do. You just have to think about it. But this is the other part of a one-off session that, one of the reasons why Stephen and I are doing this together is that, when he just does a one-off session, he gives them all this information and then they go away with it and like, what do I do with all this? Right. But when you have a series of sessions like with the two of us, then we're diving in and dealing with this with you in the whole way and giving you practices and steps to take where you can continue on your journey without us, and come back for another tune-up if you need to, or a check-in. But
right,
it's this whole package versus just like, okay, here's some information, see ya,
well,
and
I mean,
and
yeah.
sometimes people are good with that, and that's all they need, and they can run with it. That's awesome. But a
But if you
lot
think about it, it's like
of
going from your PCP to then the correct surgeon that they send you to then the surgeon sending you to the physical therapist for the rest of the healing. Like the surgeon's not doing everything.
exactly.
So that kind of like, it's like a spiritual medical practice
Yes.
that you have.
Yes.
Why do I keep comparing it to like all these layman's terms? So it's like a banana split, like, I don't know, it just helps my brain.
Well, I think
It's
it
like,
helps everybody's brain. It's
yeah,
good.
it's like a spiritual medical practice.
Yeah. I mean, it is. We're really going inward. We're really diving into your consciousness, to your blueprint. The chakra system is the blueprint of the soul. So we're diving into it, seeing what's going on in there, and then we're working with it and we're cleaning it out. And yeah, you have to be a part of it. We're not doing it for you. We're doing it with you to help you guide you, to empower you to do it, because you have all the wisdom within you. Cannot express that enough.
Right.
And feeling your emotions is not weakness. I hope we're over that by now. It is actually wisdom. Your emotions are, we know this, emotion is emotion, is energy in motion. It's
Kind of
energy.
like boys being ridiculed for crying because
Right.
they're a boy. Why stop crying? You're acting like a girl.
We're over
That
this.
unhealthy. Yeah.
We have
That's
to
kind
be.
of what you're talking about, right?
Yes, we have to be over that by now. And so it's empowering to feel your emotions because it's the body telling you something. It's your consciousness telling you something. So we need to listen to it. We need to honor it and say, okay, why am I feeling so angry right now? Why do I want to scream and shout right now? But you have to take the pause. This is where the meditation comes in, of like, it helps you to pause before you say or do anything and think first. Think first, then do. Okay, wait, is this what I want to do right now? I'm feeling angry. Where am I feeling that in my body? I'm feeling angry right in my chest. Like it feels like it's going to explode. Let me breathe. What is happening? Why am I feeling this way? Well, it's because blah, blah, blah said this. And why is that a trigger? I'm triggered. Why am I triggered? Because there's a block in here that's saying when somebody says that, I'm in danger. Or whatever it is, right? You have to get to know yourself, understand what is going on. It's not an accident that you're feeling angry. There's a reason. The problem lies when we store it and we ignore it and we're like, I can't, I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen. Or, then we're talking about a whirlpool of energy getting caught in your chakra system and it's whirling around and it's going to affect you in more ways than you realize.
I mean, I'm just going to bring it up, whatever, but it reminds me of Deepak Chopra. I just saw a clip of him on, I think it was Jimmy Fallon, and he was like, I have not heard anyone talk about Trump in this way. I mean, yes, there's people that love Trump, and there's people that opposite, completely don't like him at all. But he talked about him in a way that you don't hear people talk about him. He was just like, I want to work with him. He's like, that man is so scared. That man needs so much love. That man, like, and I think I'm pretty sure it was Jimmy Fallon. He was like laughing, like wait, this is crazy. He's like, the whole world needs to say, I love you, Trump. He's like, he wouldn't even know what to do with himself. Not the worship, not the like, that kind of Trumpism, but like truly like, I love you and you're okay. He's like, that man is full of fear.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that is why he behaves the way he does. And he's like, I would love to bring him in and have him meditate and work with him. And I'm like, you just don't hear such compassionate words put towards him ever. And it was like,
I'm so glad to hear he said that on national television, because I honestly could not agree more. That man is a child of God like every single other soul on this planet in the universe. And whether you praise him or hate him or whatever you feel about him, it really is the truth. And he is suffering greatly where he is energetically and consciously.
unfortunately, he's not going to go to deep rock. And we're all going to have to, deal with his
Listen, there's a reason.
unhealthy. Yeah.
There's a reason, and there's a deep, deep reason that is to our highest, in our highest good, that all of whatever is happening, which I don't even really know, because I do not pay much attention to that side of things, that I'm very neutral in all of this because I have to be for my work, and I have to stay in my light. And I am of the understanding that we are in a higher age. We are in a higher consciousness on this planet. There is a higher consciousness. This earth is going through her own upgrade right now. So, we need to destroy some things that don't work for this new age and these systems that are old and outdated for us. And so, yeah, it's going to get harder, but know that light is here. Greater light is here on this planet. And if you focus on love and peace and light, it's going to help the collective. So don't be in the place of fear where he is and drop down into that energy. Stay uplifted. And I'm not saying we have to say, oh, everything's great and perfect. It's not. We know this. It's a mess. It's a nightmare out there. We know this. We can't change it. We're not going to be able to change it. What we can do is emanate as much love as possible that helps to uplift the whole. So we do have a lot more power as individuals than we realize. A lot more power if we stay in our.
Yeah. On the same token, I saw a clip with Arnold Schwarzenegger begging people to stop whining about him because he's like, it's not changing anything. And I'm tired of everyone whining. Like, I get it, but that is not helping the situation anyway.
It's making it worse.
Yeah. The energy just keeps going. Like, yeah.
So instead, we stay in compassion. Have compassion. We know. I don't care what you feel about anything. You have to know inherently in your being that man is suffering to act in the ways in which he acts, even if people think it's great. No one acts that way if they're not in a lot of fear. And so I love that Deepak Chopra said that, because that's the reality in terms of, in the reality of like anyone who's in this world of spiritual, the word spiritual is funny to me, but of helping people heal in any way. We see this. And us as humans who are deep spiritual beings by nature know this. We see this. We can feel that he spews hatred because he's so broken inside. He has so many blocks, like we all do. His is just front and center and out into the world. So he is highlighted. But I want him to heal. Who doesn't? He deserves to be healed just like everybody else. And the universe and God, source, creator, loves that being as much as any other being in this universe. It is pure love underneath all of it. So what if we did all just really, truly shine our hearts with compassion towards all of it, even the wars and all this stuff, having compassion for all these souls who are choosing to be or are in this space for whatever reason they're in this space of real harsh difficulties.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just went off on a tangent on that side.
Well, I'll be honest, it's still the same feel to heal. Like, because if you want to
Yeah.
heal the world, you feel the love and you're putting it out there, you're feeling to heal with the intention of healing. So it's all feel to heal, really.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we need to not be afraid of our emotions, and we need to learn how to really deeply listen to our inner subtle energies. They're always talking to us. That's what the key is. It's pausing, stopping to just listen and be. It's amazing what comes up when you do that.
Yeah.
You've experienced meditation every once in a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so powerful. I mean, just for me, like we were sitting last night on our outside part of our deck and we were watching the sunset, one of my favorite things to do. And quiet, just so quiet. You can just hear the birds and little creatures. And Dave and I were saying, I can't imagine the noise of a city anymore. I can't imagine being in the mix of all of that and how peaceful it feels in this outer world of nature. You could be sitting in the middle of a city and go inward and feel it inside of you
Right.
because it's in there.
Right. Right. Which is what I was going to say. Like, for everyone who's living in a city, that does not mean you cannot find or feel that same thing.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
can 100%. It is all right there for you to have. It's a matter of being quiet
Hmm.
still and listen. Yeah. That's the only way healing happens. When we feel what is going on inside of us rather than suppressing it or overriding it or trying to bypass it. It is when we feel what's really true for us, then all of a sudden we start to automatically start the process of healing. Just when you name your emotion, it moves from that reptilian part of the brain to the higher thinking brain and starts to already shift into a different place. When you just say to yourself, I feel angry, or whatever it is you're feeling, when you just name it, it already makes a turn. So it's not hard. It's really not difficult.
Yeah. And so somatic healing is basically like physical, mental, and like overall wellness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's recognizing that we have all this energy stored inside of us and we can work with it directly by being present with it, by awareness.
Okay. So let's go over before we get to the end of our episode here. Let's finish off with what can the regular person do to tap into somatic healing in their own world?
First is by a daily stillness appointment with yourself. Make a daily stillness appointment. Just check in. And I'm not even talking about meditation necessarily, as okay, let me just pause and sit and be and do a quick body scan, which is I'm going to start at my toes. I'm just going to check in with all my parts and I'm going to see, is there anything going on? Do I have any tightness? Do I have any energy movement? Do I have anything that feels stuck? Or, you have to get used to going inward and looking at yourself. So you just scan the body as you close your eyes, and then you might feel, wow, I feel like my knee is really tight, or oh, my hip is really sore. What's
And
going
then what do
on?
you do?
And then so if you feel a certain energy that's
In
something,
your knee.
say in your knee, then you sit with it and you imagine that you can see inside of it. Like, okay, what if I had a microscope and I could see in my knee? What would I see? The thing is, you have to trust what comes up for you. A lot of people second guess. Well, I don't know. If you're not, and it can be difficult because we tend to not trust ourselves in these things sometimes. But say that you do trust yourself and you're feeling some tightness in your knee, and it's so easy for the ego to dismiss, well, yeah, because I just ran 4 miles and my knee's aching. No,
Okay. No.
yes and no. because no matter what is happening to you with you physically, there's something deeper underneath of it. So say that you're just observing your knee and you feel this tightness and you're like, huh, what is that? And then you imagine you can see inside of it and there's some energy there. And it's difficult because it's again really easy for the ego to dismiss things and to make it sound like it's nothing when it could be something that you can be moving out. Like, even if you're not aware of what it is or why it's there, if you can't go deeper into other than like, okay, there's tightness there and there's energy there and I don't know what to do with it, just even imagine like, okay, with the breath, I'm going to move that energy up and I'm going to move it out. And I'm going to release and I'm going to soften my knee and I'm just going to relax it and I'm going to imagine I'm pouring healing energy into my knee. That's one really simple example.
Yeah.
You can start just being present with. And then the next day you check again your body and you notice, oh, my knee is still feeling that way. Well, let me keep working with it. Or maybe my knee is feeling better. It's subtle energies. And so working with subtle energies can be difficult for the ego mind because the ego mind wants to, excuse me.
So the book You Can Heal Your Life by the late Louise Hay, is that somatic healing? That practice of finding, now you say knee and you can go in there and you can go through the glossary or the dictionary part of it and see knee, and then she'll tell you the affirmations to say to why you're what mentally connects to the knee and what to affirm to move it out. Is that somatic healing then? Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
All those years, didn't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
I read that at 21. Love that book.
Yeah. No. It's great.
It is great.
Yeah. Affirmations are really good. Obviously. Very, very good. Visualization, affirmation. Those are all really powerful healing techniques. The key to all of that is feeling. If you don't feel it, it won't work. Like, feel it in the core of your being that you are healed, or that feel, a sense of calmness, feeling that, okay, this is, I'm releasing this, I'm letting this go. This is really high level stuff. Like, really, it's so funny because sometimes when I say high level, it feels like it's shallow, but it's high level in like the depths of everything, right? It's like
right.
deep.
Yeah, you're not saying it's high end.
No. It's
Right.
high.
Yeah.
It's high
Yeah.
level of healing, and it is not necessarily easy to just do this on your own if you are very new at the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I would suggest, maybe having a session or two with a practitioner who does this kind of work, because it can help you to know.
Yes, I would recommend calling Jenny, which you can find how to connect with Jenny in the show notes.
Yes. I have two. Yeah. But we all have healing to do. We all, no matter how great you feel in life or what's happening. I mean, I work up with myself all the time. I mean, I know I have lots of healing to do. And this is the work that we're here for as souls, to heal ourselves, to experience life and enjoy it. We're here for entertainment and education. The education part is about us. Educating ourselves on and remembering who and what we truly are, and that we are very, extremely, very, 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 extremely powerful beings. And we don't utilize a fraction of our gifts, our abilities.
Well, I gained a ton of knowledge from this episode. Like, I really confidently know what you do and what somatic healing means. And I think it's going to bring an awareness to me. Like, right now, my lower back has been sore for a couple of days. So I'm going to sit with myself either later tonight or in the morning before I have too much to do, or after I'm done doing all my too much to do. And, try to do some energy work on myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah, I'm going to. 'Cause it's
Good.
been really annoying me.
Good. And then you'll report back to us.
I will report back. I will see you all here next week.
Good.
And thank you, Jenny, for what you do and for sharing it with us.
My pleasure. I love it. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, everyone, have a great week. And we thank and love you for joining us here. Share us with all the people that you love. And we will see you here next week.
All is well.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Sister Sessions podcast. If you found inspiration in today's conversation, we'd love it if you shared the episode with your besties, family, or even your favorite neighbors. We'll be back next week with more to share, but until then, remember, meditation is the key to unlocking your inner peace. All is well, friends. See you soon.